Today's topic is Introduction to Object-Oriented Analysis and Design. The main objective of this topic is to understand the importance of each UML diagrams in software development process models and to understand iterative, evolutionary, and agile process models. The main outcome of this topic is to recognize when to use UML diagrams in developing life cycle models. Coming to the introduction to the object-oriented analysis and design is an software engineering methodology that involves using object-oriented concepts to design and implement software systems. This OOAD involves a number of techniques and practices. There are some important aspects of this OOAD that are object-oriented programming, design patterns, UML diagrams, and use cases. Let us understand the object-oriented design pyramid. This object-oriented design pyramid specifically emphasizes specific product or system design. So this pyramid is helpful in developing a product or a system design. So the analysis model created using object-oriented analysis is transformed by object-oriented design into design model that works as a plan for software creation. So we can understand the difference between an object-oriented design and design model. So how it is going to be transformed from design to the model. So this design is coming up with an idea for the function or shape, where the modeling is trying to make the design come to life. So it's like the difference between science and the engineering. So engineering is more about the application of the scientific ideas to everyday life. So this designing pyramid for object-oriented system is having the following layers. So that 4 layers are, the first one is the subsystem layer, the second one is the class and object layer, the third one is the message layer, and the fourth one is a responsibilities layer. So all these layers are helpful in understanding to develop a product or a system design. So let us briefly understand each and every layer. So the first layer is the subsystem layer. It represents the subsystem that enables software to achieve user requirements and implement technical frameworks that meets user needs. The second layer is the class and the object layer. It represents the class hierarchies that enable the system to develop user generalization and specialization. This layer also represents each object. So this layer is mainly helpful in developing the relationship between the classes and objects. The messaging layer. So this represents the design details that enable each object to communicate with its partners. In the sense, it is helpful to communicate between the classes and objects. So it establishes internal and external interfaces for the system. The responsibilities layer. It represents the data structure and logarithmic designs for all the attributes and operations for each object. So as we are aware that a data structure and an object algorithm is helpful in developing the pseudocode or in helping the code. So this layer is majorly focused to convert the design into the code. So that are the major 4 layers to understand and to develop the software or a product. Coming to the some of the terminologies that are often encountered while studying the object-oriented concepts. So let us understand these terminologies. The first one is an attributes, a collection of data values that describes a class. The second one is a class, encapsulates the data and procedural abstractions required to describe the content and behavior of some real-world entity. In other words, a class is a generalized description that describes the collection of similar objects. The next one is an objects, instance of a specific class, or objects inherits a class attributes and operations. Coming to the next one, operations, also called methods and services, provides a representation of one of the behavior of the class. The next one is a subclass, specialization of the superclass. A subclass can inherit both attributes and operations from a superclass. The next one is a superclass, also called a base class, is a generalization of a set of classes that are related to it. So these are the mainly encountered whenever we come across the object-oriented concepts. So please be familiar in understanding all these terminologies. The next one is an advantages of OOAD. So the first advantage is improved modularity. So this OOAD encourages the creation of small reusable objects that can be combined to create more complex systems, improving the modularity and maintainability of the software. The second advantage is better abstraction. Generally, abstraction is nothing but which hides the things, like abstract refers to the act of representing essential features without including the background details. So this better abstraction is nothing but which provides a high level abstract representation of the software system, making it easier to understand and maintain. So it hides all the complexity from the user and from the developer. So the next important advantage is improved reusing. OOAD encourages the reusing of objects and object-oriented design patterns. So reducing the amount of code that needs to be written and improving the quality and consistency of the software. The next one is improving communication. This improved communication is nothing but communication vocabulary and methodologies of software developers, improving the communication and collaboration within the teams. As we know that there are different types of software process models. In each and every model, there is some rules and regulations, like in some models, the developer will not interact with the end user or stakeholder whenever they used to develop the projects. Like in small case projects, like a time being projects, where the developer used to frequently interact with the user or the end user to satisfy the needs of the developer end user. So in that case, they needs to improve the communication, like they need to communicate every time to the end user and to get the updated information to integrate in developing the softwares. So this is one of the important advantage while developing the software. The next one is the scalability. OOAD can help developers designing software systems that are scalable and can handle changes in user demands and business requirements over time. The next one is the maintainability. OOAD emphasizes modular designs and can help developers create software systems that are easier to maintain and update over time. The next one is flexibility. OOAD can help developers design software systems that are flexible and can adapt to change business requirements over time. The next one is improved software quality. So OOAD emphasizes the use of encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism, which can lead to software systems that are more reliable, secure, and efficient. So all these are the major important advantages of object-oriented analysis and designs. So let us understand, look into the disadvantages of OOAD. The first disadvantage is complexity. So OOAD can add complexity to the software system, as objects and their relationship must be carefully modeled and managed. So as we know that OOAD is an reusable code, or it is a platform independent. So whenever in case of platform independent, the relationship in developing or integrating between the various models is a little bit complex when we talk about the platform dependent code. So coming to the second disadvantage, overhead. OOAD can result in additional overheads as objects must be instantiated, managed, and interacted with, which can slow down the performance of the software. The next disadvantage is time consuming. OOAD can be a time consuming process that involves significant upfront planning and documentation. So priorly, it should be planned and documented. So this can lead to longer development time and high cost. When it comes to the disadvantage of cost, OOAD can be more expensive than other software engineering methodologies. So as we know that there are various kinds of software engineering methodologies. So this is one of the methodology in developing the softwares. So due to the upfront planning and documentation required, so it is an highly expensive one compared to the other software engineering methodologies. I hope the introduction to the topic is clear. Thank you.